Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, February the 9th. Now we have a 6-game slate to go over, and as always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 6 games. We're going to break down each team, kind of give them our early thoughts, what I do like, taking a first look at this slate on Tuesday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We will talk about 5 players that specifically stand out to me on both DraftKings and on Yahoo. But before we get started with the breakdown, as always, please do hit the like button down below, guys. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Also, go check out the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. So, PrizePicks, a player prop-based kind of DFS site where you're not necessarily building out a lineup or playing against other players. It's you versus their projections. So, they have projections posted already for some of Wednesday's games. You can take a look at their board, make some picks for tonight's games. You can take a look at all the other sports that PrizePicks offers. They do offer a ton of other sports other than NBA. Again, you're just picking over or under on a player's projection. They have a ton of stuff posted already. Points, rebounds, assists, rebounds, three-pointers made. They'll have fantasy point projections posted as well. If you have access to fantasy point projections, you can compare your projections to PrizePicks projections and make your decisions that way. But either way, if you guys have not signed up for PrizePicks, go check them out. Sign up, use code NOAH, and they'll give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. And if you guys do want my favorite plays on PrizePicks each day, along with the entries that I'm playing myself, that I'm putting my own money on, I give those all out on Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon member, you want to see all that I do have to offer over there, you can check out the Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. All my updated DFS content, PrizePicks plays, our Discord chat, that is all available for Patreon members. But let's go ahead and take a look at Wednesday's 6-game slate. We're going to start off with the Spurs and Cavs game. So I'll say this is probably one of the least appealing games on the slate. There's not a ton that really stands out here. The Spurs do play pretty fast, but it's a tough matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland's a really good defensive team. They play really slow. Dejounte Murray is a guy that just has massive upside and can put up a big game any night. I don't think this is the best matchup for Murray, but on this shorter slate, he's definitely someone you can consider paying up for. I'm pretty sure he's the second most expensive player overall, only behind LeBron. So obviously Murray's going to project out as just one of the top, fantasy point projected players overall. It is a tough matchup though, so I think Murray's just more of a tournament option here. Jakob Poeltl at 7,500 at this price tag. I don't have a ton of interest in Poeltl. He has been playing really, really well lately. He has shown plenty of upside. His minutes have been way up, but again, tougher matchup against Cleveland. I don't see it, Poeltl being that appealing. Keldon Johnson, Derek White at their price points, they're okay, but I don't think they really stand out. It's just not a great spot here. I don't think I'm going to be targeting San Antonio too heavily, at least not at first look. With it being the trade deadline, I don't think the Spurs will really be making any moves, but we kind of have to wait and see because there's going to be guys that probably get traded Wednesday. There's going to be moves that happen. We saw it happen on Tuesday. Tuesday's slate completely changed after the Sabonis trade, the Halliburton trade. It completely changed everything for Tuesday's slate specifically. We could have some trades go down Wednesday that maybe changes things, but for now, I don't see too much that really stands out on San Antonio. And then on Cleveland, we'll have to pay attention to Darius Garland news. He's currently questionable. Cleveland did recently acquire Caris LeVert. We don't really have any update yet on if LeVert's going to be able to play for this game. I don't think he's going to be able to play. It's only been 2 or 3 days, it's only been 2 days since the trade happened. So normally, it takes at least 3 to 4 days before a player can play for their new team. I'm guessing LeVert won't be ready to play just yet. Garland, though, if he plays, against San Antonio in a pace-up spot, I think Garland's viable. He should be fairly low owned on the slate. I don't mind going to him if he's able to go. If he gets ruled out, it'll benefit guys like Brandon Gowen, Rajon Rondo. Gowen last slate, for some reason, only played 16 minutes. He was getting big minutes in place of Garland. The last 2 games at least he had started, he had played 32 and 36 minutes. Rondo played really well off the bench last game. So maybe that's one of the reasons that Goodwin was limited as much as he was. Rondo played 32 minutes, was really productive. Between Goodwin and Rondo, it's going to be tough to go to either one. Their prices are both coming up. Rondo, if he plays 32 minutes again, he's going to probably smash, but I don't think it's a guarantee he gets anywhere near those minutes. We could see more minutes go to Goodwin today. Overall, I just think Cleveland's probably going to be another team I avoid. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, the bigs, I don't know if they really stand out on this slate. We'll say that Evan Mobley's price tag has come down a good amount. He's only 6,800. He's been kind of inconsistent this season. We've seen some disappointing games from him as of late. He still does have a fairly high floor. The ceiling on Evan Mobley isn't massive. We haven't seen a ton of huge games from him. But at 6,800, he's pretty likely to give you, 35, 38 DK points and be solid at his price point. But Evan Mobley's one of those guys, at least so far this year, he's rarely shown the upside to put up a score that you have to win. So in general, like, I just don't see a ton I like from Cleveland either today. This is one of my least favorite games on the slate. I just don't see too much I really like here. So we can move on to the next game, talk about the Bulls and the Hornets. So on the Bulls today, when it comes to their top three guys, DeRozan, Vooch, LaVine, I mean, all these guys have upside. It is a pretty good matchup against Charlotte. It wouldn't be surprising to see one of these guys do well, but when they're all healthy and where they're priced where they are, I don't think any of them stand out as like priority plays today. DeRozan at 9,600, he's going to need to put up close to like 50 to 60 DraftKings points to be worth the salary. I think on this slate, I'd rather get up to LeBron, Dejounte Murray. I'd rather play even in a tougher matchup. I think I'd rather get up to a guy like Steph Curry. So I don't see a ton of interest in these Chicago guys, even in a good spot. It's just where they're priced at. None of them stand out as priority plays. Vooch, I like this matchup a lot for Vooch. He destroyed Charlotte earlier this year. It wouldn't be surprising to see Vooch do really well again, but it's not like we're getting much of a discount on Vooch. Same with Zach LaVine. I mean, in this spot against a fast-paced Hornets team, like, it wouldn't be surprising to see Zach LaVine do well, but he's 9,100. I don't think he really stands out at that price point. Ayo Dosunmu is out today for the Bulls, so that will open up more minutes for Kobe White. I'm guessing that Kobe White will start at point guard in place of Ayo. Kobe White, it's hard to tell like how productive he'll be playing with LaVine, with DeRozan, with Vooch. Like, I think Kobe White is most productive whenever those guys are off the floor. We've seen Kobe White, when he gets minutes with the starters, he's just not as productive just because, he's given usage to DeRozan, to Vooch, to Zach LaVine. Like, when those three guys are on the floor, those are going to be the three guys, getting all the usage, taking most of the shots. I could see Kobe White doing well here in a good matchup, and I think his minutes will be up without Ayo. So I think at 5,100, Kobe White's at least viable today. The rest of Chicago, though, I'm not too excited about. I think that's really it for this team. And then on the Charlotte side, so Charlotte, they're going to be without Gordon Hayward. They're going to be without Cody Martin, and it looks like James Bouknight is doubtful. So we saw last game, after Gordon Hayward got injured, Charlotte ran just a really, really tight rotation. They basically played 7 guys. LaMelo played over 40 minutes. He played 44 minutes in regulation. Miles Bridges played over 40 minutes, 42 minutes for him. Terry Rozier played over 40 minutes, 41 minutes. And then you saw Kelly Oubre play a lot off the bench. He played over 38 or 36 minutes. He played 38 minutes. PJ Washington played over 30 minutes off the bench. And then Mason Plumlee, I believe, got like mid-20s. Yeah, he got 28 minutes. So, basically those guys, LaMelo, Bridges, Rozier, Oubre, Plumlee, Washington, those 6 guys are going to play a good amount. Really the only other guy off the bench that played last game was Ish Smith, and he played 8 minutes. So, I mean, we've seen Charlotte in these scenarios when they're really thin, like, they'll just play their starters huge minutes. It doesn't seem like Borrego has much confidence in the bench guys. So, like, Nick Richards, Vernon Carey, Kai Jones, like, I don't think these guys get many minutes. Like, I think Charlotte's just going to play their main guys a ton. So there's definitely upside for the starters here. LaMelo should play probably close to 40 minutes in a matchup against the Bulls. Like, I think LaMelo does offer upside here. If you want to go to him on this slate, I have no issues with that. I think both Miles Bridges and Terry Rozier are in play as well. I mean, Miles Bridges, he's going to play probably close to 40 minutes, if not over 40 minutes. If this is a close game, he's not, that expensive either. No issues with Miles Bridges. Same with Rozier. He should play over 40 minutes or close to 40 minutes. We know Rozier can be productive when he's on the floor. A little bit more of a scoring-dependent player, but 6,900, like, I do like that price tag for Rozier. And then the other starters, I'm guessing with Gordon Hayward out, we'll probably see Kelly Oubre start in place of Gordon Hayward. 5,600 for Kelly Oubre. I mean, Kelly Oubre has shown when he gets minutes, he can be really productive. We know he's a guy that will take a ton of shots when he's out there. He can get defensive stats. He can get rebounds. Shot the ball pretty bad last game, 41% from the field, 0 for 8 from 3. He could have definitely had a way better game last game if he could have made some three-pointers. But 5,600 for Oubre, like, he's going to play huge minutes here. No issues with Oubre. Plumlee, I could see Plumlee maybe only playing like mid-20s minutes. We'll have to see, in this matchup against Vooch, I would think they probably want Plumlee out there instead of PJ Washington, but we've seen Charlotte be fine playing PJ Washington at the 5. I think regardless, PJ Washington will play pretty good minutes off the bench as well, close to 30 minutes, and at 4,900, like, he's viable too. I mean, really all 6 of those guys that we just talked about, LaMelo, Bridges, Rozier, Oubre, Plumlee, Washington, I think all 6 of those guys are in play today. Now, would you play 3, 4, 5 Hornets in a lineup? Probably not, but I think playing maybe 2 or 3 Hornets to get today, 2 or 3 of those 6 guys that we talked about, I'm totally fine with, because I think those 6 guys are going to play pretty big minutes. And I don't really know if anyone else is going to get much run. Maybe Ish Smith plays like 10, 15 minutes. Maybe they bring someone else into the rotation, but it does seem like we're going to get huge minutes from those main guys. So I think they're all viable for sure. Definitely, Charlotte's definitely a team we're going to want to have a little bit of exposure to today. But that's it for Charlotte. We can move on to the next game, talk about Toronto and OKC. So on Toronto, again, Toronto, they're another team. Like when it comes to their starters, they're going to play their starters huge minutes. Siakam, Van Vliet, OG, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent, those 5 guys are going to play probably over 34, 35 minutes if this is a close game. Some of them might play, close to 40 minutes, if not over 40 minutes. We did see Siakam once again play over 40 minutes last game. It's now 4 out of his last 5 games he's played at least 40 minutes. Like I think Siakam's definitely in play here against OKC. Only issue or only concern, I guess, is that OKC, they're just, they're a really, really bad team. They could definitely get blown out here. I could see, these Toronto starters maybe being limited a little bit just because, this game could blow out. But if it does stay close, I think, Siakam has really big upside in a, good matchup against OKC. Definitely like Siakam today. I have no issues with Fred VanVleet either. OG and Scotty Barnes, I think, are fine. They haven't been as good. They haven't been as consistent as the other starters, but they're both in play just because they're going to get so many minutes. Gary Trent, 6,500, more of a scoring-dependent player, so always a guy that's kind of, it's kind of scary to roster Gary Trent at these price points just because if he's not hitting his shots, he's going to really, really disappoint. But when he's out there, he's going to take shots. I mean, you look at the shot attempts, 22, 20, 16 last game. He's going to get big minutes as well. Like, I don't have an issue with Gary Trent at 6,500, but definitely Siakam and Van Vliet are the 2 guys I like the most from Toronto. And Siakam specifically in this matchup against OKC, a team that, is not good defensively against big men. I think it's a really, really good spot for Siakam. But that's probably it for Toronto. I think it's really everyone that I see here. Just mainly going to focus on the starting lineup. Don't think I'd really be going to anyone off the bench from the Raptors. And then on the OKC side, OKC, I mean, they're another team that I don't really have much interest in today. We did get word, I don't know why, but Josh Giddey is only going to be playing around 30 minutes moving forward. I have no idea why this is. Obviously, the Thunder, they don't care to win games right now. They're obviously not trying to win games. They want to get, the best draft pick that they can. So maybe this is them tanking. I don't really know. But, with Josh Giddey being limited to 30 minutes moving forward, pretty much puts him out of play for me until his price tag comes down. So really no interest in Giddey. Lou Dort at 6,200, I don't mind. I think Lou Dort should still play big minutes. There was no report of him being limited. So I guess if this game, does stay close, we probably will get, high 30s minutes from Lou Dort. He's another guy that I'm a little hesitant to pay 6,200 for, but man, like as of late, especially without SGA, Lou Dort's been really good. He's been playing big minutes. I don't have an issue with him. If you want to go to him at 6,200, he's probably my favorite play overall from this OKC team. Baisley, I don't hate either. Baisley's been getting big minutes lately. He should continue to play big minutes with, so many guys out for the Thunder right now. No JRE, no Muscala, no Roby, no Wiggins. They're still pretty thin in the front court. So I think Baisley will play a good amount. I don't mind Baisley either at 5,600. The rest of OKC, though, I'm pretty much off of. Trey Mann, don't think I'm going to go there on this slate. Kendrick Williams, Tyler Jerome, like none of these guys stand out. For me, it's really just Dort and Baisley that are in play from the Thunder. Moving on to the next game, though, talking about Minnesota and Sacramento. So these 2 teams did just play on Tuesday night. They're playing once again on Wednesday. From the Minnesota side, like I don't think anyone had like any massive games. Karl-Anthony Towns, he had 25, 9, and 3. Off the bench, Malik Beasley played pretty well. I have the game log pulled up. He had 21 points, but nobody really smashed on Tuesday against Sacramento. But I think the matchup is really good that, it wouldn't be surprising to see Cat do really well here. He only played 21 minutes. He was limited due to blowout. They won by 20. I don't think Cat played much in the fourth quarter. If you want to go to Cat on this slate, like I don't hate it, but I probably would rather go to like Siakam, who's at a similar price point. And D'Angelo Russell both offer plenty of upside. It's a really good matchup. It wouldn't be surprising to see one of those guys do well. I think if you want to roster one of the big 3 from Minnesota, whether it be Cat, Ant, or Russell, I don't hate that. I probably wouldn't roster like 2 of the 3 in the same lineup, but one of those 3 guys I'm fine with. The rest of Minnesota, I'm not too excited about, like Vanderbilt, Beverly, Taurean Prince. Like I don't think any of these guys really stand out. Minnesota right now, they are pretty much at full strength. They've got everyone healthy. Whereas, we're going to talk about some of these other teams, specifically Portland. Like Portland's going to be really shorthanded once again. Portland ran a 9-man rotation on Tuesday, and they're probably going to run a 9-man rotation again Wednesday. So I think I'm really going to be trying to target some of these short-handed teams. That's not really the case right now with Minnesota. Their big 3 I think is playable, but that's probably it from the Timberwolves. On the Sacramento side, though, so this is another team that is short-handed. I forgot to mention them. So Sacramento, they made some trades on Tuesday, traded away Tyrese Halliburton, traded away Buddy Hield. They got Domantas Sabonis, but I don't think the Sabonis will be ready to play yet. Like, I'm expecting Sabonis to not play. He's going to be out. So on Sacramento, I mean, they're going to be really shorthanded. They ran a pretty tight rotation on Tuesday against Minnesota. We did see some guys get some blowout run, like Robert Woodard played a little bit in the blowout. But basically, they ran a 9-man rotation. And Mo Harkless got injured about 9 minutes into the game. It's to be determined if Mo Harkless is able to play today, given that he got injured on Tuesday. But I think the main guys here, like the starters, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, Richaun Holmes was a late scratch Tuesday. We'll have to keep an eye on this. He was out for personal reasons. We don't really know what's going on here. Could Holmes be traded? Like, could he be on the trade block? I think that's definitely a possibility. I think if Holmes is on the trade block, obviously they're not going to risk him getting injured, and his trade value just diminishes. So if there's a good chance that Richaun Holmes is potentially being traded, and if that's the case, I expect he'll probably be out today. We did see Damian Jones start at center on Tuesday with Holmes out. Damian Jones was really good. He played 29 minutes, had 36 DraftKings points. If Damian Jones starts at center again, I think he's going to be a really, really good value play on the slate. He is someone that I'll have a ton of interest in if Holmes remains out. I think without Halliburton, with him no longer on the team, with Sabonis not ready to play yet, like I think De'Aaron Fox is a pretty good play here. De'Aaron Fox played 35 minutes Tuesday. He was not on a minutes limit. He probably would have played more, but the game did blow out. I think he got pulled a little early in the fourth quarter. But he was really productive, had 48 DraftKings points. He's been really productive on a point-per-minute basis this year with Halliburton off the floor. I think Fox should continue to be really productive with Halliburton not on the team anymore, especially until Sabonis is ready to play. So I really like De'Aaron Fox today, expecting him to play on the back-to-back and not be limited again. I think it's 7,700. Like, that's just way too cheap for De'Aaron Fox. On Yahoo, I like him a lot over there as well. If you want to play Fox on Yahoo, $32. I think he's one of the better plays overall on the slate. Definitely stands out in the mid-range. Harrison Barnes, like if this game's close, I think Harrison Barnes will play pretty big minutes. 6,600, I think that price tag is about right for Harrison Barnes. He's normally a guy that doesn't offer a massive ceiling, but again, if it's a close game, like he should play a ton of minutes. Davion Mitchell, I did have a lot of interest in on Tuesday. Was kind of disappointed to see him only play 30 minutes and to struggle as much as he did. Like, I think without Buddy Hield and without Halliburton, Davion Mitchell should play a lot of minutes. Even though he only played 30 on Tuesday, he should get pretty big minutes here. I think because he disappointed Tuesday, that's probably going to make his ownership way lower today. Like, he was pretty chalky on Tuesday's slate. He will not be nearly as popular today. So I don't mind going back to Mitchell, even though he kind of busted on Tuesday. And then not Richaun Holmes, but Chimezie Metu actually did play a good amount on Tuesday because obviously Mo Harkless got injured. He did start the second half in place of Harkless, played 34 minutes, had 28 DraftKings points. If Mo Harkless is not able to play today, I'm guessing that Metu will start and probably play big minutes. So 4,200 for Metu, like he's another guy I would have my interest, or I would have some eye on, or my eye on for value. He's a guy that I would have interest in if Harkless doesn't play today. But yeah, man, there's going to be a lot to like from Sacramento. We probably will see another tight rotation from the Kings. I think De'Aaron Fox looks like a great play. I think if Richaun Holmes is out again and Damian Jones starts, I like Damian Jones a ton. If Harkless is out and Marvin Bagley doesn't play and Metu starts, I think Metu looks really good. And then if you want to go to Harrison Barnes, if you want to go to Davion Mitchell, I have no issues with those guys either. The Kings are definitely a team we're going to be wanting to get some exposure to today. And what should be, once again, a pretty high-scoring game against the Timberwolves. Hopefully, they can keep today's game close like they were unable to do on Tuesday. But yeah, guys, let's move on to the next game. We'll talk about these last two before we do in the video. So Golden State and Utah. This is not one I have a ton of interest in. On Golden State specifically, I think Steph Curry does look like a pretty appealing pay-up option today, especially with Klay Thompson out. Having Klay off the floor, I think, is pretty good for Steph because Klay's been a fairly high usage player this year. When Klay's been on the floor, he's soaking up a lot of usage. He's been taking a lot of shots. I think the workload will be heavier for Steph. In this matchup against the Jazz, I think this is a game that should stay close to where we do get full minutes from Steph. So I definitely like Steph on this slate, and normally I'm not a guy that pays up for Steph. I haven't played Steph a lot this year, but I do have a lot of interest in him today at 10-3. I think not having Klay out there is pretty good for Curry, pretty good for his fantasy value. It should make his usage just be skyrocket, or his usage should be through the roof. I mean, he should have close to a 30+% usage rate. So definitely like Steph on this slate. Andrew Wiggins, I think, is fine with Klay out. He should get a little boost as well. Don't mind him. Jordan Poole, I'm guessing, will start in place of Klay. Last time Klay was out, I think it was this game against Houston, or maybe it was this game against, I can't remember when it was. I think it was the game against San Antonio, but that was also a game that Steph was out as well. Jordan Poole smashed that day, had 51 DraftKings points, but we can't look too much into that one because Steph was out that game too. But we've seen in games that Klay has missed this year, Normally, Jordan Poole winds up starting in place of Clay. I'm guessing Jordan Poole starts today, probably plays over 30 minutes, and at 5,800, like, I don't mind Jordan Poole on this slate. He's normally a guy that I don't have interest in, but I think with Clay being out, that does make Jordan Poole viable. Kevon Looney is currently questionable. This is actually kind of important because if Kevon Looney does get ruled out, I'm guessing they either start Jonathan Kuminga at center or they start Juan Toscano Anderson at center. They don't really have any other big because their backup center, Bielitsa, he is out right now. So the Warriors are pretty much going to have to go small here and play either Kuminga or Kuminga or JTA at center if Looney doesn't play. So if Looney is out, whichever guy starts at center, whether it be Kuminga or JTA, I would have a lot of interest in whoever does start. They're both fairly cheap, $4,400 for Kuminga, $3,500 for JTA. We are going to need to keep an eye on that Looney news because that is pretty important. That will definitely give us some value from Golden State if he does get ruled out. But that's probably it from the Warriors. I think that's really everything that stands out to me from this team. And then on the Jazz side, looking at Utah, Donovan Mitchell, 8,600. I don't mind on this slate. I don't think he really stands out as a priority option, but since he's returned from the concussion protocol, he's been really good. These last two games against Brooklyn and against the Knicks, only played 22 minutes against Brooklyn because it was a big-time blowout, but he was still really productive, had 42 Draftkings points, and then last game against the Knicks, in 36 minutes, you had Donovan Mitchell put up 58 Draftkings points. The price tag at 8,600 is pretty reasonable for Mitchell. Normally, we see him priced above 9K. So I think Donovan Mitchell is definitely in play today. Probably my favorite guy overall from Utah if I had to play anyone on this team. Mike Conley, Bojan, Jordan Clarkson. I'm not as interested in these guys at their price tags. Hassan Whiteside's pretty cheap, but he just hasn't been getting the minutes lately. They've actually been playing Azubuike pretty big minutes. I'm guessing that Azubuike will continue to start. He got up to 28 minutes last game. Does Azubuike play 28 minutes today? I don't really know. I think the most likely scenario is you see a pretty even split in the center minutes between Azubuike and Whiteside. Whiteside, especially going up against this undersized Warriors team, Whiteside should be able to feast when he's on the court. But again, his minutes just have not been that good. Azubuike's been playing a lot. If Azubuike does continue to play high 20s minutes, I think at 4K, he's actually a pretty good value play today. It's just that I don't have much confidence that he continues to get these minutes. I think there's a chance that maybe he doesn't play 28 minutes today. Maybe he only plays 22, 23. And if that's the case, he's not a guy I'm going to have a ton of interest in. But if you want to go there at 4K for value, I don't hate it. Have a feeling, though, there's going to be other value plays worth targeting, specifically in this next game that we're about to talk about. That's probably it from Utah. I think that's really everything that stands out here. Utah, not that appealing of a team, just in my opinion. Last game of the night, though, by far the most appealing game on the slate, in my opinion. Lakers and Blazers. Both these teams on a back-to-back, so we definitely will have to pay attention to the injury report here. For the Lakers, I'm guessing that everyone will be able to play. But we have seen, lately, the Lakers, when they've been on back-to-backs, they will sit guys. I'm guessing LeBron and AD will play, but, keep an eye on it. LeBron, if he does play at 10,800, I think is a pretty strong pay-up option on this slate. Even with Anthony Davis healthy right now, even with the team fully healthy, LeBron has just been so good as of late. He's been crushing. He's been putting up solid games every single night. Wasn't great on Tuesday against Milwaukee, but I'd be fine going back to LeBron today, especially since we don't have some of our elite pay-up options like Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. Those guys aren't, Luka. Those guys aren't available today. I think LeBron looks like one of the better pay-up options, so definitely like LeBron on the slate. For what it's worth, he went nuts against Portland earlier this year. 78 Draftkings points in only 29 minutes. Not sure if Anthony Davis or Westbrook were out those games. AD, it looks like he played, and Westbrook, Westbrook played as well. So, man, LeBron just went nuts against Portland earlier this year. I think LeBron is a pretty good pay-up option, though. Anthony Davis, I think, is a fine pay-up option as well. He's been really good as of late, been playing big minutes. He should continue to play big minutes. If this game does stay close, they're going to need him and LeBron, right now, because those are really the only two guys that can do anything for them at this point. I think LeBron and AD are both viable. Westbrook, I think, is just a fade. Westbrook's just been so bad lately. His minutes have been way down. It's now been 2 games in a row that he hasn't closed, so I don't think we can really go to Westbrook. Malik Monk at 6K. If he was a little bit cheaper, I'd have some interest. I think at 6K, I don't think Malik Monk really stands out at this price point, but he should play big minutes as well. If this is a close game, we have seen Malik Monk, when he gets hot, he can put up really big games. He does have a big ceiling. He'll take shots when he's on the court. He should be productive when he's out there. It's just that the price point doesn't make him stand out as a priority option today. And that's probably it from the Lakers. I think that's really everything that stands out here. Don't see too much else I really like on this Lakers team. Definitely the top 2 guys, LeBron and AD are the 2 guys that stand out the most from the Lakers. And then on the Portland side, talking about Portland. So Portland, they're by far the most appealing team on this slate. They're going to be really shorthanded. I'm guessing that Portland is going to run an 9-man rotation once again. They ran a 9-man rotation on Tuesday because they only had 9 available players. And I'm guessing that all the guys they acquired in the CJ McCollum trade, Josh Hart, NAW, Saturansky, like those guys are probably not going to be able to play for today. So the 9 bodies that we should expect for Portland are Nurkic, Simons, Winslow, Ellaby, McLemore. Those were the 5 starters. And then, Dennis Smith Jr., Greg Brown, Watford, and who else? Blevins. So those will be the 4 guys off the bench. So that's 9 available bodies for Portland today. The starters all played over 30 minutes. I did pull up the game log just so I could take a look at it. So you had Nurkic play 34 minutes, Simons played 38 minutes, Ben McLemore played 31, Winslow played 33, and Ellaby played 34. All the starters played at least 31 minutes Tuesday. Now, on a back-to-back, is it possible that maybe these guys don't play as many minutes? I guess it's possible. But with how thin they are, with only 9 players, I think we're going to see, big minutes once again for Nurkic and Simons, heavy workloads for them. Nurkic wasn't super productive on Tuesday's game, played 34 minutes, had 40 DraftKings points. But we know Nurkic offers big-time upside in a good matchup against the Lakers in what should be a fast-paced game, in a game that should stay close as well. I think Nurkic is a really good play here. I like Nurkic quite a bit on this slate. I like him and Simons. I think Anthony Simons' role, at least for now, while CJ McCollum, or with CJ McCollum no longer on the team, and until Josh Hart and these other guys are acquired and they're ready to play, I think Simons is going to have a really massive role. He played 38 minutes on Tuesday. Again, wasn't super productive, but I'm fine going back to these guys. The matchup's really good. The minutes are going to be there. The usage should be there. 7,300. I still think Simons has the upside to pay off this price tag. So both Simons and Nurkic I like a ton. They're definitely 2 of my favorite plays from Portland. On Yahoo, I think both Simons and Nurkic look great. $25 for Simons, $32 for Nurkic. Love both of those guys. And then the other starters, Winslow, Ellaby, McLemore, all these guys are viable. Winslow played 33 minutes. He was really productive, had 32 DraftKings points. His price tag did go up a good amount, but $4,500, if we expect Winslow to play over 30 minutes, he's probably still too cheap. I definitely like Winslow. I think Ellaby's a really good value. He played over 30 minutes, played 34 minutes, was really productive, had 31 DraftKings points. At $4,400, I know the price tag went up a little bit, but I think Ellaby looks like a really good value play as well. I definitely like both those guys. And again, on Yahoo, these guys are really cheap. Ellaby's only $12. Winslow, for some reason, is still minimum salary. I think Winslow's a great value play on Yahoo. You're going to have to be loading up on Portland today, assuming they are running a 9-man rotation again. Ben McLemore should play big minutes. He played over 30 minutes. Wasn't super productive, but I'm fine going back to Ben McLemore today. I think he's once again a pretty good value play. And then off the bench, you saw Dennis Smith Jr. play 20 minutes. You saw Watford play 20 minutes. Greg Brown played 19, and Blevins played 10. Now, between the bench guys, I don't have a ton of interest in these guys, but I will say that Greg Brown, even though he only played 19 minutes, he was super productive. He had 29 DraftKings points in only 19 minutes. So far this year in limited minutes, Greg Brown has been pretty productive on a point-per-minute basis. So if you want to go to Greg Brown at 3,800, I don't hate it. I think if this game does get ugly and, if the Lakers show up and they play really well, I think there's a good chance the Lakers can maybe blow out Portland here. But the Lakers have just been so inconsistent this season. They really haven't shown the capability to blow out anyone. If this game does, get ugly, we could definitely see more minutes for a guy like Greg Brown. If you wanted to play him, I think it's okay. But really, the starters from Portland are what stand out. Every starter played over 30 minutes on Tuesday. I'm guessing every starter will play over 30 minutes once again, if Portland only has 9 available players like they did, on Tuesday. But that's it for this game, and that's it for these 6 games on Tuesdays, or on Wednesday. So, hope you guys did enjoy this video. As always, guys, appreciate you watching. Hit that like button before you get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. If you have not yet, go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do, and PrizePicks will give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. You can take a look at their board for Wednesday's NBA slate, make some picks for yourself, potentially win up to 10 extra money. Just make sure that when you do sign up, you use code NOAH, so that way you get your first deposit matched up to $100. And as always, if you guys want some of my favorite plays on PrizePicks along with the entries I'm playing myself, I give those all out on Patreon. You can check that out. It's linked down below in the description. But best of luck on this slate. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. We'll see you in the next one. Good luck, guys. Peace.